All right, we are here again on another episode of FinTech Friday, and pleased to have my friend and fellow Michigan Mortgage Mafia member, John Hill. John Hill from Total Expert. Thanks for joining, John.
Always a pleasure to talk to you, Brian. It seems like we've been talking way too much lately, and we might as well add another day and another way to the conversation.
We're not on an airplane or in an airport, so that's kind of nice.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure.
So I record these. These aren't live episodes, so I typically record and then we drop it on Friday mornings. And it just so happens that we're recording today on Thursday, and it's National Podcast Day. So happy Podcast Day, John.
Happy podcast to you and everybody else that runs all of the podcasts. There's so many cool ones in the industry, isn't there?
It's crazy. And if I'd have known it was a holiday, I would have brought you flowers. So.
I would have too, but this was a little bit last minute. So
yeah, I get my news from a bunch of different sources, and I don't remember which daily email blast told me today was. I think it was Chrisman. I think it was Rob Chrisman today talked about National Podcast Day. Who knew it was such a thing? You
know, there's a day for everything now.
There is. Well, this is FinTech Friday. That's the name of our podcast, and this is our 21st episode, which is pretty wild. If you've watched any of these, John, which I'm not going to ask you that because that would be embarrassing if you said you hadn't seen it. But if you had been paying attention, I always open the show asking my guest to just talk about what the term FinTech means. So fire away.
Yeah, I mean, FinTech, to me anyways, and yes, I have watched a few, not everyone, because Fridays are usually busy traveling and things. But FinTech is, technology or software that supports, enhances, and kind of creates a better experience for the financial services industry, whether it's banking, mortgage, or anything touches that. That's what FinTech means in my world anyways.
Love it. And that's consistent with what we hear, so that's good news. So let's pivot a little bit and talk specifically about what you're up to and what you guys are doing at Total Expert, because you're clearly I would say, squarely in that FinTech space, in that you are definitely supporting the banking industry, the mortgage industry, and others around marketing automation. So tell us about Total Expert, and for those that don't know Total Expert, give us the elevator pitch here.
Yeah. So, we've got so much going on over at Total Expert. We've got so many really cool releases that we're going to be talking about on the road at all the different stops that we have over the next, 4 weeks. But in essence, when you think about CRM in the financial services space, it's data. And our CEO and founder and our technology teams, they've thought and crafted an experience around that data. So we put that data in motion, making sure that every touch point can equal some type of predetermined outcome, and then create experiences around that, not just for the borrower, but for the people who are using the platform too, because in this industry, the experience creates with the person who's actually using the software or the technology. So creating amazing experiences through data for loan officers, bankers, and then extending that great experience out to the consumers in the country.
Yeah, so I love the way you described that, because there's essentially you're serving two masters in a sense, right? At the end, and it's not too dissimilar to what we do at FinLocker, and we'll talk a little bit about kind of how we're working together there in a minute. But you've got the client, your customer, the bank, the mortgage lender, the enterprise, if you will. And then you have another client typically underneath that kind of enterprise client, which would be the loan officer in the mortgage space, some banking representative, some personal financial services representative inside of the banking world. And then ultimately, we all share the same end user, the consumer. It's what is that experience, and how is the consumer benefiting from this technology and this experience? And what you guys are doing is basically helping brands amplify their value prop to their end customer, right? And you do that on top of data, as you said.
Yeah. You think about, with all of the different and disparate systems that all of these financial services, and we'll just use mortgage as an example. You've got your LOS, you've got your POS, you've got your pricing engines, and all of the other platforms that are around driving value, hopefully, for the loan officer and the borrower. But where does all that go, right? You've got to create a centralized ecosystem for all of that so that you can start, the end goal or the predetermined outcome in the mortgage industry is an application, whether it's a new application for a new customer or that repeat application for a borrower. So how do you take all of that data from all of those sources, bring it into one spot, and then automate off of that? When you think about CRMs in the past, it's a data repository, right? You put consumers in there or records, contacts, whatever you want in there. And what else is there? Because we know that in the mortgage industry, and any industry really, CRMs aren't really adopted. So you can spend all the money you want. There's really no ROI out of that until you start creating the experience for, again, the first person, which is the loan officer or the person using it, to gain value out of it, right? So automating that off of the data to get to those customers and give them less to do, so that even if you're not logging in every day, you're getting value out of the platform. But then extending that to the consumer too, getting the right message at the right time, in the right manner, right? Because we all know now how many times do you check your email, your personal email every day? How many times do you look at your phone for a text? Right? Is it easier to watch a video as opposed to read an email? So it's really meeting the customer where they are and creating that message to relate to them, to drive deeper relationships, and then again create that lifetime value.
Yeah, what I love about what Total Expert does is, if you go back and think, a few years back, and it's probably not that many years back, frankly, CRM used to mean, to your point, I drop in my past customers, and we're going to send a birthday email, some kind of a anniversary email, and maybe some autumn recipes or springtime, garden tips, right? That's kind of the old school methodology for staying in contact, meaningfully staying in contact with your past customers. That's all, honestly, junk, right? That stuff, I see it in my inbox and I don't even open it. It's immediately deleted. And what I love about what you all have done at Total Expert and continue to iterate on is, and this also requires the client to manage the database. So you've got to have meaningful data in your database. But if you have meaningful data and there's events, alerts, triggers, trends that are happening on that data, changes in that data, those all drive very specific and dynamic journeys, and then communications that are kind of guiding that journey. And each journey has kind of an end goal or objective to meet, right? Maybe talk a little bit about that, just for those that still think of CRM as birthdays, anniversaries, recipes, and garden tips.
Drip campaigns, right?
Yeah,
it's that. And again, I don't even delete it. I've got probably 25,000 emails in my Gmail account that have never been opened and never been deleted because it's just irrelevant. And they're all those types of things. But a journey is a lot different than a campaign, because we're not just sending out those garden tips. We're communicating to them based off of the data and their interaction with the loan officer, with the brand, with the marketing, with whatever they're doing, and creating a specific and tailored message to them in regards to exactly what's happening in their life. So, for example, you get a borrower, and it's a past customer who has put their home up for sale, right? That loan officer may not know because it might have been 6-7 years ago. But you get that little link or that little task in your CRM sent out to your phone saying, hey, this borrower, your past client, just listed their home. But before they even get that, there's an email saying, hey, I just wanted to catch up with you and see how things are going. Markets and rates are low. Wanted to see if we could catch up. But now you're driving a human interaction as well. It's not just a drip campaign.
Yeah.
See, technology, CRM automation, it can't replace human interaction. right? That's where the relationships are built. And mortgage industry, we know this because the conference that we were just at, it's a relationship-driven business. We want to know that you care about us before we want to know how much you know about what you do. And so that's where it sets the loan officer and through Journeys up for success, is because you're meeting them again where they are with the right message, but there was nothing more for you to do. So those journeys can take different paths, whether it's off of the POS. The loan officer sends out the link to the POS and they stop filling out that application in the POS. Well, how does that loan officer going to know? Get a notification, reach out, right? So all of those dynamic data points comes into a journey and creates a story, but then pivots too, because every journey has, again, a predetermined outcome. Is it that application being filled out? Is it the closing? Is it the next step or that customer for life type of a campaign? So we create all of our journeys with a predetermined endpoint and then pivot from there. So that journey for that customer never ends. It just changes.
Right. Yeah, I love it. So that's a good segue into kind of what we're doing together, right? So I've been a fan of Total Expert since my days in the primary mortgage originations side of the business before I came over to the fintech side of the world. Always admired the platform, loved kind of how forward-leaning the platform was relative to kind of traditional CRMs, as we just talked about. And when I got to FinLocker, it wasn't too long thereafter that you made your way over to Total Expert, and we kind of started having these brainstorm sessions, usually in airports, on airplanes, at conferences, at cocktail hours, whatever. But contextually, our platform is a repository of consumer data, right? Consumer contributed and consumer permission direct source data. And the consumer permission direct source data coming from their credit report and all their enrolled financial accounts is dynamic in the sense that literally day over day, it can change, right? And so what we were looking for at FinLocker, and part of our roadmap was to enhance how our app engages a consumer. If any app that you download and start to use is not just it's only going to be successful if you come back and use it frequently, right? And you can't just have an app that someone downloads and expect the consumer to come back in on their own to do whatever it is you want them to do. You need to engage that consumer, pull them back into your system, and give them the next best thing they should be doing, or the next best bit of information that's going to be helpful to them. And so we scoped out and really spent quite a bit of time at FinLocker on how we're going to build out this engagement layer. And from what I understood of Total Expert and how it works for lenders and banks on top of those institutions' data, I kind of thought maybe there's something here for somebody like FinLocker. And you, to your credit, had enough of a forward vision to kind of be crazy enough to take this idea back to Minneapolis to the team, and here we are close to launching our implementation. But maybe just talk a little bit about how, from your seat, how your platform is going to be engaging with FinLocker from a consumer engagement perspective.
Yeah, no, I mean this one. This whole engagement is a credit to the brilliant people that we have on our team, from Joe Welu, who is our CEO, to Matt Tippett, and all of the amazing people that we have here, to be able to take a platform like ours, right? In as a CRM, we call it an experience platform right now, and then strip away a lot of the layers and OEM basically our platform into yours. I mean, that's a great story for me to tell, for you to tell, and for Total Expert to tell, because there is no other platform like ours doing that for any. So we're powering your engagement with your consumers. And so all the conversations that you and I have had, before we actually got down to the nitty gritty, and now we're getting to launch, is how can we, through those journeys, communicate to the borrower based off of all of the interactions, not just with their data, but how they're actually interacting with the with the app
right
inside the locker. And so for us, you and I are talking like, what if this happened? And what if this happened? And it's, what happens if, they're, on the servicing side, or when we were talking about forbearance, what happens if, their direct deposits come down a little bit? Who gets a notification? Do they get a notification? Is there something like that? So how we support, V2, V3, the lenders and the servicers is going to be absolutely amazing. But just creating that experience and talking to the customer based off of what's happening, this is going to be, I cannot wait to see what happens next in this. It's been, what did we talk, 6-7 months, 2-hour drives to golf courses, on planes.
One golf course. I don't play golf, guys. One golf course. Okay,
TPC, there was 2. But it's very, very interesting to bring in all of the fields, because your locker has a massive amount of data. And so for all of those who don't understand how the journeys work, within the next couple months, download and get the FinLocker app and see the power behind the communication engine that we've built at Total Expert off of the journeys, and how that data can interact, to fire off communications based off of what they're doing. It's going to be, for me anyways, probably one of the coolest deals that I've ever signed in 20 years.
Yeah, we're super excited. The teams are highly engaged, a lot of good energy, good vibe, great kind of ideation. So we're likewise super excited. And I can tell you that, we've got clients and some mutual clients that are really excited about what happens after initial launch, and we start to go a little bit deeper. So a lot of cool stuff to come.
Yeah, it's going to be a crawl, walk, run. But again, the power behind the journeys, if we're able to, as Total Expert, power other software and the communication and the experience with that, the limits are endless when it comes to powering a mortgage brand or a banking brand or whatever brand that is in the financial services space. Yeah. It's unmatched.
No question about it. So we got a few minutes left. Let's pivot to a timely topic: business travel and kind of conference season. So our bodies have been out of shape as it relates to, conference travel, business travel, conference season, all of the above. It's been a blast here, but it's also been a freaking marathon over the last 6 weeks. Just your perspective on kind of the return to conferences here for our industry.
Again, we talked about this at the beginning. Our industry is very relational. It's a huge, huge industry, but it is so tight knit with the relationships that we've built over the years. And the first back in July was the first conference that I've been to, and that was the Florida MBA. Just the vibe in the room, the excitement in the room, just to be around people was amazing. And then fast forward to the amazing event in Terranea that the TMC crew put on. Everybody's excited to be back in, and it feels like every conference that was canceled is now put on.
Yeah.
I'm going to be home for the next, I think 6 days in the next 4 weeks. But the opportunities, the conversations, the engagement is, I've never seen the level of willingness to communicate with people. And, I never also realized that we needed to train literally like an Olympic athlete to get out on the road and do these things.
Yeah, that part is definitely. I'm feeling the post-workout pains of a couple of back-to-back conferences, and super excited actually this Sunday to head to Scottsdale, Arizona for the Total Expert Accelerate user conference. It'll be my first experience there, and we're a couple of us from FinLocker are going as clients, which is kind of cool. And just really looking forward to the engagement, but learning from not only the folks at Total Expert, but from your other clients.
The amazing part about it is you are actually the only vendor in the industry that is actually a client of Total Expert.
Yeah,
so crazy. You have a unique spot in Total Expert in our customer base. But looking at the list of people who are going, You don't being here, and coming over to Total Expert, you don't really realize the who's who of the companies that we actually support and power in this industry. And looking at that list, what a powerful list of people that are coming, number one, but then the speakers and the content that everybody's going to be able to learn from. So you guys are, and everybody that's going to be attending should be really excited about what's about to happen, because our events team, we know how to throw a party, and it's going to be an amazing 2 days of content, interaction, connectivity, and really just kind of networking with everybody at the conference. So it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to that. And then of course we're right when that ends, we'll be inside of 2.5 weeks until the NBA National in San Diego, and that one, just the way it's shaping up, is going to be unbelievable. You talk about pent up demand for a conference. It's going to be off the charts.
Obviously the parties at the NBA annual are second to none. The last time we was in San Diego, we were on the battleship at Petco Park. All over the place. But what I'm really more excited to see is who's going to be there, who's all going to be there, and then all the new, the new technologies. I'm a fintech junkie. I love all the tech. I love the new tech, and connecting with, even more people. I think right now the conference, the attendee list is almost 3,000 people.
Yeah.
And, just expanding some of the conversations and getting deals done, because there's nothing like being in person to get a deal done in this industry.
100% agree. And before we jump from that topic, I'm going to give a shout out to Katie Sweeney at AIM, the Association of Independent Mortgage Experts. So Katie and her team just wrapped up their AIM Fuse event, which is I think this was the third or fourth AIM Fuse, and obviously they were virtual, last year, as everybody was. This event was, maybe, I've been to a lot of conferences. I've done this thing for 30 plus years. So may have been in the top three in terms of how well run, well organized, but even more than that, just the level of content that was delivered throughout the event. So hats off to Katie and her team at AIM. They just... they killed it. Anytime you have a conference with three headliners like Magic Johnson, Molly Bloom, and Simon Sinek, it's like, come on, that's like lights out. So
the only thing that we're missing was somebody from University of Michigan in there.
Yeah, well, there's nobody worth having, frankly. Who are you going to have, Jim Harbaugh? Let's be average. Woohoo!
That would be a great message, right?
All right, I'm going to have my editor strike that out. Oh, wait a minute. I don't have an editor. So, John, this was a blast, as always. For the people that don't know you, that haven't run into you in the airport Delta Sky Club, just a real quick blurb. What do you like to do outside of this crazy business?
Golf, hockey, kids, but, just live life to, and take every minute, have fun, right? We grind up really, really hard in this industry, and we've got to have fun. Yeah. So whether I'm, out at, 6 a.m. or, 2 a.m, at meetings or at home, it's just, work hard, play hard.
So I know a little bit about you. I'm guessing you're getting pretty pumped for Halloween. You kind of go all out, right?
Everything is going up tomorrow. And then I'm actually going to be mixing in a little bit of Christmas decorations in there too, because everything is going to be out. It's got to start that too, because there's 30,000 lights going up this year.
Jeez. So everyone that's following this, you'll have to go follow John on LinkedIn or wherever else he posts, because the pictures of his extravaganzas are phenomenal. So congratulations on that.
Again, got to go all in on everything.
Right on.
If you're going to do something, do it as best and as ridiculous as you can.
Go big or go home, they say.
That's it.
Awesome. Well, this is a blast, John. Thanks for joining me. And again, thank you to Total Expert for the awesome partnership. Folks, if you're not familiar with Total Expert, reach out to John Hill. He's on LinkedIn. He's also john.hill@totalexpert.com. Learn about Total Expert and how they can help your business. Thanks again, John, for joining.
See us at the conferences, too.
Right on.
We'll be everywhere. Thank you, Brian.
Happy Friday.
Happy podcast day.
Oh, thank you.